Hello and welcome back to the channel that knows nothing. I'm Jem and let's get to it. So today we are doing the book adaptation tag because I thought it would be really fun to do because adaptations, am I right? They are problematic and yet fantastic at the same time. Question number 1 in this tag is, what is the last book adaptation movie that you saw? And it wasn't one that was recent. I recently rewatched Mortal Engines and I am still so disappointed in that because that book was amazing and the movie was okay, but then it didn't have the right ending, and I feel like if you change the ending of a movie that's based on a series is a bit problematic, because if it's a standalone I feel like you can get away with that, but because it's a series you've literally just messed up pacing and it's bad. Question number 2 in this tag is, what book adaptation movie are you most excited for? And it's not something recent, and it's not a movie, but it's Brave New World. I am really keen to watch the adaptation of that. It's a TV series on Stan. I'm really interested to see it. I have not read the book, but I'm really into dystopians, and that's partly because the Hunger Games got me like super into them, and 1984 got me even more into them, and so now I'm really interested to see this one and how it plays out. Number 3 in this tag is, which upcoming book movie will you not ever be seeing? And I decided to go with Artemis Fowl for this one. One, because it just looks nothing like the book was. I read the book so I could probably watch the movie, and I recently watched the trailer for it and I'm just baffled at how different it looks to what the book was. And I didn't particularly love the book, but I could see why a kid would really like it. Obviously it's not directed at someone who is my age, but I could definitely see why, like my older brother, when he was young, why he was really into it. Like, not something that I would particularly love reading, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. It wasn't great, but the movie just looks like even more terrible, and I'm concerned what they were thinking. Question number 4 in this tag is, which book movie will you never be watching ever again? And I don't like to say I'll never do something because it sounds very negative, so I'm just gonna leave this one blank. There's a lot of really bad ones out there, so yeah, I don't know, like sometimes I just like to watch it to be like, that's wrong. I do that a lot with the Percy Jackson movies. Like, they're not bad. I really like the casting in them, but the stories are just so much better. Like, obviously the book version of the stories are so much better than what is portrayed in the movies. Question number 5, was there a movie that made you want to read the book? Yes, and that was Percy Jackson, ironically. And then I read the book and was very, 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 very disappointed in the movie. I think most fans can say that. Question number 6 in this tag, is there a movie that made you never want to read the book? And yes, Eragon. Eragon? Is that how you say it? I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I remember watching the movie and being like so confused by it. I remember it actually came up in a class at uni once, and we were talking about adaptations and like which were the worst adaptations. Percy Jackson did come up, Eragon came up, a few other things came up, but those are the 2 that I really remember that the class talked about. And apparently there's like a spoiler at the end of the movie that you don't find out for at least the 3 book series, I think that it is. It's 3 or 4. I think it's 3 though. And then I do remember like reading the first page when I was really young and being like kind of confused what was happening. So, but yeah, the movie just really confused me, and like I was young when I started reading the book. I'm not saying I'm never gonna read the book, but yeah, the movie confused me. I wasn't really sure what was happening Number 7 in this tag is name a book movie that has almost nothing to do with the book that is based upon. And I decided to go with Beautiful Creatures for this one because I remember absolutely loving that book, as trashy as it was. And I remember like being really disappointed in the movie because the characters in the book I feel like have so much more character in the book than they ever did in the movie. Like in the movie, like it has a really cool premise and I feel like it just gets forgotten in and like also labeled as really trashy, which it is like a little bit because it is a romance or based upon romance, but there's also magic and the magic is really cool. I remember like being so intrigued by when they get to a certain age whether they're gonna be like someone good or someone evil. I thought that was like so cool. It's such an original idea that I'd never seen before, and I feel like that just didn't come across in the movie properly. Like there's a connection between two characters that I feel like was just so lost. I wish they had like delved deeper into that because that would have been good. It would have made my heart whole. Question number 8 is, have you ever left a theatre during a movie because the movie was that bad? No, I never leave movie theatres unless I absolutely have to, and that's generally because I have to go to the bathroom. But I just feel like it's so rude to get up in a theatre. Like, do not consider everybody else. Also, like, I like to give it the benefit of the doubt. I do that with most things in life, and I like to make sure that, you know, the story, if it like has a really bad middle section, maybe has a really great ending. Like, you never know. You can't just leave and just not know. Question number 9 is, do you prefer to watch the movie first or read the book first? And generally I like to read the book first so I have some background when I go in to watch the movie because sometimes that helps. But sometimes that almost never happens. I never read the book first, even though that's what I prefer to do. And I generally watch the movie. The only book I haven't done that with is The Host because I'm very determined to read the book before I watch the movie to that. I don't know why. I think I just made a vow to myself when I was very young and I've not let it go. Question number 10 is, how do you feel about movie adaptations that age up the characters? Sometimes I think it's okay, especially if the book is a bit more adult in some ways. For an example, if they were ever to create the Gone series into a movie or a TV show, I would be okay with them aging up the characters a little bit, because there's a lot of stuff that happens in that book that I wouldn't say is age appropriate for some age groups. Like a lot of characters, things happen and I feel like it would be a bit problematic. But sometimes I feel like for a series as in Harry Potter or Percy Jackson, where the children are really young and it is age appropriate, then it's fine to like obviously have the cast age up as the series goes along. Question number 11 is, do you get angry when the actors don't look how you pictured the character? No, not really, because I don't really picture characters as looking a particular way. Like sometimes if the movie has come out prior to me reading it, I will just imagine them as that actor. But I don't really have like a general way that I like picture most characters. Like, I don't really care if the casting people are just like, you know what, this is who we're casting for that person. I'm like, okay, then that's who they're casting for that person. Like, who cares? If they're the best for the job, then cool. Question number 12 is, do you like any adaptations better than their book counterpart? And yes, I have two. I have Ender's Game and The Great Gatsby, because I don't know, like, you know when you read a book and you're just like, did I actually get what that concept was about? Also, I really like Ender's Game, the movie, a lot better than the book. I don't know, I think I just had a lot of problems with what the book was setting up and the ages of the characters. That's where another one of those books that I would be okay with the actors being aged up, since they are very, very young in the book. And then The Great Gatsby, I feel like I got more out of it visually than I did reading it. I've had numerous arguments with people that prefer the book to the movie, which I can understand. It's a classic, but I just prefer the movie. There was a lot more to it. and it got to bits a lot quicker than the book did. And there are benefits to the book, like you get a lot more of Nick's perspective, but I think you get a pretty close amount in the movie too. I don't think it's a bad movie. I really like it. Number 13 is name a book that you would love to see as a movie, and there is so many that I would love to see as a movie. It just a lot, but I feel like the one that would most likely become a movie is Illuminae, and it would be like a thriller, and I would probably like be terrified, but I'd also be really intrigued to see that like visually on the big screen. I would be so keen to see that. It would be terrifying, and it would be really interesting to see what the script would be like as well. Like, I just feel like it is a really big book, but there is so much to it, so much information, and so many different perspectives that you could have, that I reckon it would be a very interesting interweaving story. Anyway guys, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, subscribe, because that is always nice, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!